The following week dragged by. Wednesday night found Hermione and Harry sitting alone in the common room long after everybody else had gone to bed. The clock on the wall had just chimed midnight when the portrait hole burst open. Ron appeared out of nowhere as he pulled off Harry's invisibility cloak. He had been down at Hagrid's hut helping him feed Norbert, who was now eating dead rats by the crate. "It bit me," he said, showing his hand, which was wrapped in a bloody handkerchief. "I'm not going to be able to hold a quill for a week. I tell you, that dragon's the most horrible animal I've ever met. But the way Hagrid goes on about it, you'd think it'd be as fluffy as a little bunny rabbit. When it bit me, he told me off for frightening it. And when I left, he was singing it a lullaby." There was a tap on the dark window. "It's Hedwig," said Harry. "She'll have Charlie's answer." The three of them pulled their heads together to read the notes. Oh, here's a picture of the little dragon. How about that? Dear Ron, how are you? Thanks for the letter. I'd be glad to take the Norwegian Ridge back, but it won't be easy getting him here. I think the best thing will just be to send him over with some friends of mine who are coming to visit me next week. The trouble is, they mustn't be seen carrying an illegal dragon. Can you get the Ridgeback up to the tallest tower at midnight on Saturday? They can meet you there and take him away while it's still dark. Send me an answer as soon as possible. Love, Charlie. They looked at each other. "We've got the invisibility cloak," said Harry. "It shouldn't be too difficult. I think the cloak's big enough for two of us and Norbert." It was a mark of how bad the last week had been that the other two agreed with him. Anything to get rid of Norbert and Malfoy. There was a hitch. By the next morning, Ron's bitten hand was swollen to twice its usual size. He didn't know whether it was safe to go to Madame Pomfrey. Would she recognize a dragon bite? By the afternoon, though, he had no choice. The cut had turned a nasty shade of green. It looked as if Norbert's fangs were poisonous. Harry and Hermione rushed to the hospital wing by the end of the day to find Ron in a terrible state. "It's not just my hand," he whispered, "although it feels like it's about to fall off. Malfoy told Madame Pomfrey he wanted to borrow one of my books so he could come and have a good laugh at me. He kept threatening to tell her what really bit me. I told her it was a dog, but I don't think she believes me. I shouldn't have hit him in the Quidditch match. That's why he's doing this." Harry and Hermione tried to calm Ron down. "It'll be over at midnight on Saturday," said Hermione, but this didn't soothe Ron at all. On the contrary, he sat bolt upright and broke into a sweat. "Midnight on Saturday? Oh no! I just remembered something. Charlie's letter was in that book Malfoy took. He's going to know we're getting rid of Norbert." Harry and Hermione didn't have a chance to answer. Madame Pomfrey came over to the moment and made them leave. Ron needed sleep. "It's too late to change the plan now," Harry told Hermione. "We haven't got time to send Charlie another owl, and this could be our only chance to get rid of Norbert. We'll have to risk it. And we've got the invisibility cloak. Malfoy doesn't know about that." They found Fang, the boarhound, outside with a bandaged tail when they went to tell Hagrid, who opened a window to talk to them. "I won't let you in," he puffed. "Norbert's at a tricky state. Nothing I can't handle, though." When they told him about Charlie's letter, his eyes filled with tears, although that might have been because Norbert had just bitten him on the leg. "Ugh. Oh, it's all right. It's only my boot. He's just playing. He's only a baby after all." The baby banged its tail on the wall, making the windows rattle. Harry and Hermione walked back to the castle, feeling like Saturday couldn't come soon enough. Here's a picture of Fang. They would have felt sorry for Hagrid when the time came to say goodbye to Norbert if they hadn't been so worried about what they had to do. It was very dark and a cloudy night, and they were a bit late arriving at Hagrid's hut because they had to wait for Peeves to get out of their way at the entrance hall, where they'd been playing tennis. Hagrid had Norbert packed and ready in a large crate. "He got lots of rats and some brandy for the journey," said Hagrid in a muffled voice, "and I've packed his teddy bear just in case he gets lonely." From inside the crate came ripping noises that sounded to Harry as though the teddy was having his head turn off. "Bye, Norbert," Hagrid sobbed as Harry and Hermione covered the crate with the invisibility cloak and stepped underneath it themselves. Mummy will never forget you. How they managed to get the crate back up to the castle, they would never know. Midnight ticked nearer as they heaved Norbert up the marble staircase to the entrance hall and along the dark corridors. Up another staircase and then another, even one of Harry's shortcuts didn't make the work any easier. Nearly there, Harry panted as they reached the corridor beneath the tallest tower. Then a sudden movement ahead of them made them almost drop the crate. Forgetting that they were already invisible, they shrank into the shadows, staring at the dark outlines of two people grappling with each other 10 feet away. A lamp flared. Professor McGonagall, in a tartan dressing gown and hairnet, had Malfoy by the ear. Detention, she shouted, and 20 points from Slytherin, wandering around in the middle of the night. How dare you? You don't understand, Professor. Harry Potter's coming. He has a dragon. Ugh, whatever rubbish. How dare you tell such lies? Come on, I shall see Professor Snape about you, Malfoy. The steep spiral staircase up at the top of the tower seemed the easiest thing in the world after all. Not until they'd stepped out into the cold air did they throw off the cloak, glad to be able to breathe properly again. Hermione did sort of a jig. Malfoy's got detention. I could sing. Don't, Harry advised her. Chuckling about Malfoy, they waited, Norbert thrashing about in his crate. About 10 minutes later, 4 broomsticks came swooping down out of the darkness. Charlie's friends were a cheery lot. They showed Harry and Hermione the harness that they rigged up so they could suspend Norbert between them. They all helped buckle Norbert safely into it, and then Harry and Hermione shook hands with the others and thanked them so much. At last, Norbert was going, and then gone. They slipped back down the spiral staircase, their hearts as light as their hands now that Norbert was off. No more dragon, Malfoy in detention. What could spoil their happiness? The answer was waiting for them at the foot of the stairs. As they stepped into the corridor, Filch's face loomed suddenly out of the darkness. Well, 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 he whispered. We are in trouble. They left the invisibility cloak on top of the tower. All right, so that's the end of chapter 14.